And we are now live.
Boy Modeling School.
Song just slaps, doesn't it?
Yo, it so does. And welcome to the Fanboy Modeling School. I am the Fat Mantis. I am an HD. I'm with my boy
Steve, also an HD.
Are there any gimmicks tonight?
There may be some gimmicks, man, because in fact we are going to be talking about gimmick-filled topics. So we might
we've got to get down to the gimmicks. It's time to return to an age of gimmickry. Guys, going over to our, what do they call these things? A chat. We've got my man Shaolin Iceboxer. What up, brother? Dragon Lady is in the house. She says, can't stay. Just stop by to show you some love. God bless. Thank you so much. We've got Auntie Count in the house. Always a pleasure to have you. Shani, always a pleasure. Love her. Lainey O. Booyaka. She says, what up, fam?
What up?
We've got a lot going on. Auntie Cat throws out, I'm working, but I'll chime in every once in a while. Always a pleasure. So,
Thanks,
Steven, what is happening, brother? Because there's not a lot to talk about on the docket, but all of the items are crazy as fuck.
They are, man. Honorable mentions first and foremost. Before we get there, make sure you join the Riz Radio movement over on Live 365. Man, we're having a lot of fun. My man over here premiered his show today.
Yes.
La Professional, the Mantis.
What did you think of it?
I thought it was great, man. I thought it was great.
Thank you. I'm recycling one of my segments into something for here.
Oh, okay. I'm all down with recycling.
It's just a topic that needs to be discussed.
Yeah. Well, before we get to that, let's get to the bullshit real quick. We always take a big steaming pile of poo-poo on celebrities on this show, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm here to do. If we didn't do that, I would not be on this show.
So, crazy thing happened the other day. Charleston White, internet personality, provocateur, if you will, decided to address the Lil Nas X Christian situation.
Right? Oh, did he?
Yeah, this is a very, very interesting thing, man. It was covered today by O'Shea Du Jackson. Shout out to him. He's the OG.
For those who don't know, Lil Nas X claims to be in a Christian phase. Yeah. But what only thing I see from him is it seems like he's mocking Christianity. He's like dressing up like Jesus, and he's on a cross, and he's
exactly. Some might say his behavior is antichrist. Like a lot of people don't really understand that term.
Well, he did suck the devil's dick in a video,
and that's what I assume that the Antichrist is doing. So Charleston White, who is not unblemished himself, obviously, if you're unfamiliar with Charleston White, I will allow you to go Google that and then get back to us. But his clips are rough on the internet. Let me just put it lightly, man. Like, he has said some poignant and impactful things, and he said some shit that other people would have been ripped out of YouTube and cast into the fire, man. One of which was admitting to running trains on young ladies, and maybe some substances were involved in that. And these are not allegations. He said this on a stream. He said this on a stream. So when he starts to defend the faith, we might be in the bad place. He's taking shots at Lil Nas X, saying that you can't play, well, in his words, you can't play with God. You can't play with the Lord.
I mean, I would agree with that. He has to pick a lane. And so are you mocking God? Are you giving the devil a lap dance? Are you embracing that? Or are you on this other thing?
So
And
Beck
so
says in the chat, real quick, so I want you to finish your point because I think you're going to address this. Beck says most celebrities go through this phase. Ain't nothing new. No, this is different because this is a phase that other celebrities have gone through where I think it's an outright mockery, and he has said as much in his tweets. Continue, Mantis.
So, and actually, Shaolin addresses this right now. He says, Little Nas X is one of the biggest trolls on the planet. Absolutely. And so I think every celebrity goes through a Christian phase. However, I actually think, and I know they're all mistaken, or not all mistaken, a lot of them are mistaken. I think a lot of them think they're having a legitimate born again situation.
Right.
And so, however, in this case, I do not think he thinks he's born again. I think he knows he's the opposite of that. And, and he's straight up, I don't know what the word is. He's a bad actor.
I have the word, and bad actor is a correct term. What he is doing is antithetical to the entire Christian process. And the reason I know he's not going through a Christian phase is because in his earlier tweets when he came out, he addressed very specifically his feelings on Christians and the way he was treated and having to repress his sexuality as a gay man. So this behavior at Bex is unlike anything where someone may believe they're having a genuine religious experience. And in fact, what makes it different is he is willingly, openly mocking God. And let me give you some examples. He said he got accepted into Liberty University. You know Liberty University, where your boy Trump showed up and said he read from the book of 2 Corinthians instead of 2 Corinthians.
Yo, to be honest, if I knew Liberty University existed when I was in high school, I probably would have tried to go there.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they haven't been without their controversy. Not the actual establishment, just some key players like the dean. One of the deans was deposed for some behaviors that he had on the yacht and stuff like that. But the school itself, you might disagree with some of their theology, but seems to be a solid place for people seeking college to send their Christian children to, right? So Lil Nas X claimed that he got accepted into the school. Liberty had to come out and address it and called him by his government and said, we have not received any applications from this person, right?
Oh, yeah. Yo, so actually there was another thing that somebody had done this. Your favorite correspondent, Brett Cooper, someone on her team had pointed out that when he put out his acceptance letter, Little Nas X, somebody noticed that it was a completely wrong president.
Yeah.
He had the wrong president on the seal, so it was clearly forged.
Yeah, Bex, are you picking up what I'm laying down? If you're not familiar with your Bible, Little Nas X is actually doing something that is described in the last days. Some might say in a very loose interpretation of Revelation, he is woefully willing to make a mockery of God and his people. And Charleston White felt like he had to address it. Now, O'Shea Drew Jackson.
Quick. What up, Nordic Vic? Good afternoon, gentlemen. It has been a while. Always a pleasure to see you, brother. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. So Charleston White felt like he literally had to address it. And then O'Shea addressed Charles and all of Charles's supporters. Now this goes out, and I hope it hits where it's supposed to hit. People are willing to jump on Little Nas X, as they should, for your faith system. You know, you should do that.
It's funny you use the word jump on Little Nas X.
But what they're not willing to do is call out Charleston White at the same time. And I deplore this type of duplicitous behavior. It's like, now don't make this motherfucker the Christian spokesperson. Not that guy. He doesn't get to determine what's good and wholesome.
So in the rules and in the immortal words of Tyler Durden and the rules of Fight Club,
right,
one fight at a time, gentlemen. So I would say that it is okay when you're calling someone out. You don't have to look at a stream or a conversation and call every single motherfucker out. You can choose one to go for.
I'm not talking about calling everyone out. I'm talking about, like, when we gonna stop falling with the okie doke, man?
It's not an okie doke. Here's what I'm saying. Just because I have one take on it doesn't mean, like, let's say I'm shitting on the guest of a show, it doesn't mean that I'm letting the host off the hook. I will get them next week.
Here's what I say to that, right? And I mean this with the utmost due respect. You got to call it out, in my opinion, from the gate, because you remember the phrase Ben Shapiro coined, live by the yay, die by the yay? Do you remember back a couple of years when conservatives considered Kanye this darling of the ball, right?
Oh yes, I know, I do.
Just like parading him around like hooray!
Which is funny because his favorite lyric is my thing is you know the one where he has the piano and he's just like, I sent a picture of my dad. And then he's like, what the fuck is up with females? Like, so
Exactly.
and he's like, but I'm addicted to the hood rats. Like that type of lines, like that's epitome of yay.
So exactly.
So for anyone to say that he's like a super good Christian was never been.
And that doesn't mean you can't be born again. Like, that's not what we're saying, man. And you can backslide. You can even fall away from the faith, but still hold on to it tightly. That's, a kind of weird thing to say. But, conservatives were parading Kanye around. And then what happened? They left the mic in front of him for too long. Right?
Oh, right. Exactly. He needs to yeah, he's one of those guys who has to have a handler standing behind him, like a dude in a suit. And then he's like, put down the mic. Put down the mic. You said your words. What up, D? Welcome to the stream. Shaolin says, oh boy, Liberty. It's about an hour away from me. Lots of stories.
Yeah, I'm sure. Bex, as someone who also went through a Christian phase, I would actually say, well, Bex, did you understand the difference about what we're talking about with Lil Nas X, or do I need to make it more clear? Lil Nas X is as interested in Christianity as he is pussy.
Well, no, because Christianity will make him money. He's getting nothing out of pussy. But what I'm saying is, Bex, Kanye isn't a fake Christian. He's just like a not very good one, but he is a legitimate Christian because I actually do believe it is in his heart. But what I'm saying is, look at me. I'm a Christian, but I use the word hose. I've been around the block. I fucked all these hoes, right? I'm tagging all these bitches. Does that mean I'm going to hell? Maybe I'm going to hell. But what I'm saying is I'm trying to be a better person. And so is Ye. Right. But I don't think a Lil Nas X is trying to be thing. And it's so funny that we're being so judgmental because we don't know what's in his heart. But if you just look at the marketing for his new album, that shit is not right.
Yeah, miss me with that. We don't know what's in his heart, man, because there's a way to measure something, right? You measure the person's fruits. You show me a Lil Nas X, tried and true fruit of faith. Show it to me. Give me one example where you're like, man, this guy might really be into it. Or is it more likely that the dude that slid down a pole all the way to hell
to suck off the devil?
Is it more likely?
It's so funny. We're still laughing at this. It is. That video was hysterical. Let's get real.
Yo, the video is hysterical, but it's also kind of how I picture him going to hell. Like,
he says you always see clergymen in first class. That's very true. Because here's what I'm saying. Let's not even front. There's always money to be made off of Christ, and it's unfortunate. It is unfortunate, but there is always money to be made in Christ. Makes sense, man. Thank you, D. Rogue Radio in the house. What up? Rebeck says, I never said that he was serious about it. I was just pointing out the fact that a lot of celebrities go through their Christian era, whether it's real or for entertainment. This is the first time I think it's entertainment.
Yo, honestly, that doesn't make any sense because here's the thing. He's not going through it. You can't even include him in the other part of it. Entertainment would be the hopeful part of this. I think Lil Nas X is really on this Satanist shit, man. And I think we're all watching it happen. I think we're all watching it happen, and we don't realize that this is some. Actually, I can't really talk about this on here because I realize
the Black Illuminati is going to come for you.
Man, if the Black Illuminati comes to me, I'll be gone because those motherfuckers will be 15 minutes late. Motherfuckers just show up late. I'm already out of here, man. But I am saying this, man. Antithetical is 100% what Lil Nas X is, man. And shout out to Dave Chappelle, man. Yo, Dave Chappelle had the best closing line in a comedy show that wasn't his greatest, and it had to do with Lil Nas X.
The dreamer line. It was hysterical when he was going over the little kids and their dreams and how they don't make their dreams. We're not going to say the lines. It's still funny. We haven't ruined it for you guys, but check that out. And so Nordic says He gives the devil the Gluck Gluck 9,000.
Yeah.
Jesus says, beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravenous wolves. You will know them by their fruits. Exactly. And what fruits is Little Nas X putting out?
Happy Martin Luther King Day, by the way, my brother.
Yes, happy Martin Luther King Day.
Happy King Day.
Yeah,
you know what else? Another honorable mention. Someone else hit me up on IG, good friend of mine. And they had come across some of the critiques of Martin Luther King in regards to his theology. I don't know if you're up to speed on the actual theology of Martin Luther King, and we won't have to go into it in fanboy. But if you ever want to go down the dark side of this conversation, look up Martin Luther King and then type the word theology.
So here's what it is. I haven't looked at it extensively, but I will say this. He says something that is, in my opinion, biblically and theologically incorrect in one of his most famous quotes ever.
Yeah.
And I think I'm gonna fuck up his quote right now, but it's something about, I think he said the arc of social justice. No, the arc of justice is long, but in the end, no, the arc of life is long, but in the end, it curves toward justice.
Right.
And I was like, well, that's not what the Bible tells us. The arc of life does not curve toward justice. People have injustice their entire lives, and they are brutally murdered and cheated out of what little they have in this world here on earth. And so it doesn't curve to justice. And I actually like to call Christians out on that when they make this mistake. They're like, wait, if God exists, isn't life a bowl of fruit? And I'm like, no, motherfucker, it's long and hard. Mo, why didn't you pause me right there? That was a perfect opportunity to pause.
You were on one pause. I was just like, I'm gonna let this man rock with it. Yeah, but I agree with that 100%, man. I agree with that 100%. Go ahead, brother.
Oh, I wanted to point out two funny things before we get off the Martin Luther King Jr.
Yeah.
And so the first one I have to say is that
you did it again. Pause, my dude. You did it again. What did you just say?
Martin Luther King Jr. is rolling around on his motherfucking grave nowadays. You know why? Because he believed he was the anti-believer of identity politics. He wanted people to love each other, to forget the past of their ancestors and move on so we can have a better tomorrow. And right now we are living the opposite dream, where actual states in this country are looking up reparations. Nowadays it's all right to make fun or verbally assault white people simply for being white, whether they owned slavery, their ancestors owned slavery or not. As a matter of fact, people should look it up. When you're shitting on a white person, I bet you anything it is more likely that you're talking to a white person whose ancestors were broke-ass fools. They didn't own shit, right?
You know what's crazy, man? And I don't want to bring the wrong type of traffic to our channel by saying this guy's name, but famous economist, African-American, Thomas Sowell, wrote a book which I think was wildly misconstrued by a lot of people, and they on both sides of this conversation, liberals and conservatives. And he was addressing the historical nature of ghettos in America. And the one thing he gets into in the book, and I'm not quoting it correctly, he gets into cadence and the pronunciation. And what we consider ghetto slang is actually redneck slang that slaves in close proximity picked up on. Because, right, we didn't have an English dialect.
Wait, like what? Like what words?
No, like the all of it. All of it. He was like, the things you hear African Americans and the way they speak is because of the close proximity of
impoverished, the slang of impoverished people.
Yeah, and it migrated. Hold on, and it migrated over from England, and when it came here. But he makes a point in one of his books where he addresses culture, right, and what makes a culture and what makes a community. And this is a point that has been used a million times. What makes a community is not just a group of people, right? That's a part of it. It's foundational. But what makes it a functional community is infrastructure, binding agreements between the community, right? And one thing that I think that we all miss out on when we talk about Martin Luther King was he was trying to not only acknowledge the evils of his time, but looking past them to build something better in the future. When he talked, if you quite literally break down the I Have a Dream speech, he's talking about addressing these things while building towards a better future, right?
Yes, he is.
But here's the problem with that. Allow me to invoke the other great civil rights leader, Malcolm X. Everybody's got to be on board for that future. And you might find yourself on the wrong side of the line of it, no matter what color your skin is, right? We are in the era where you just address, well, yeah. I mean, I just watched a video on IG the other day. It's an old clip where it's a young, I assume she's African American, but I'm going to say black woman is talking to a white guy. And I guess the question was, which races do you love? And he's making jest. He's like, I love black people, I love Asians, I love Jews, and all that stuff. And he was like, what about you? She's like, I love black people first. And right there,
I think you put that in the chat the other day. Yeah.
Yeah, right there. I was like, okay, I see where we're going with this. And then she openly mocks him for having who lips. And he takes it in good stride. He was like, oh, shit, body shaming. It's all good till you start making fun of someone's weight. And then the chat goes crazy. And she's literally stunned. That is what this behavior has gotten you. You've gotten an emboldened white man now. Right? Where they're not going to tolerate this shit where maybe in the 90s they would let a joke roll by like white people be so corny. Now they popping off. They popping back.
Well, in that particular thing, because I know she was up there. I don't know what show that was. What is that? What was that thing?
What? Who?
The clip you showed us.
I have no idea.
But whatever it is like by inviting him up there, like she's invited in that type of criticism. So, and it is funny that she set him up to be like, what kind of races do you like to get with? And he's listing them off. And obviously the return question most people would say is, what about you? And she said, I like black people. And he's like, what about second? You got seconds? And she's like, so she was asking for that to come upon us. So she did open the door for that.
Yeah, you opened the door to let your stupidity out, man. Next and last honorable mention.
Oh, real quick, Rogue Radio says, I'm so happy you two are on while I work to cheer me up. I love you both. We love you too, Rogue Radio.
Lastly, for my honorable mention, man, Most Def. Whew. One of the greatest to ever do it. Shout out to Bex for sending me this clip. Most Def, Yasin Bey, the other half of Black Star, tried and true hip hop royalty. Would anyone disagree that Most Def is quite possibly one of the most talented people to ever grace the mic and bring us music? For God's sake, he took a subject matter like Miss Big Fat Booty and made it into a story that we all love. And there's
was intellectual rap too.
Yo, and there's nothing base or crass about it, right? Yo, Most Def took a flaming highbrow shit on Drake the other day, and it was fucking amazing. There's
a lot to criticize Drake about.
Yeah, obviously, but it was so highbrow that like I've been watching it nonstop, and the shade is layered, man. If you want, I can send you the clip. Would you like to enjoy this with us?
Yes, let's do it.
All right, entertain the folks. I'll be right back.
Oh, Nordic says, be careful who you trust. You must remember Lucifer was once an angel himself. Just reminded me from Dee's quote. Absolutely. That was well said. Shall be dropping. He be dropping some emojis. Hashtag we are not our ancestors. Absolutely. That's 100, says D, talking to Nordic. Auntie says, same Rogue. Oh, thank you guys. Miss Fat Booty, classic shit, says Shaolin. Absolutely. It was a little shady, but I don't think it was that bad. Laugh out loud. Well, we're gonna
okay, no, it's where the fuck did you send this shit, Bex? Did you send it directly to me or?
Because before we get, I have an honorable mention too.
Go for it too, brother.
No. We'll talk about it after the clip.
All right. Well,
I don't want to distract from the clip.
Don't leave me in dead air. Keep talking. Oh, I found it. Bam,
I would never leave you in dead air. Are you kidding me, man? So, have you guys seen the latest My Little Pony? No.
What?
What?
That is the show.
You sent it?
Yes, I'm sending it to Discord right now.
Discord. Okay, on it.
Boom. Sent. No, not sent. Don't click that. It's a StreamYard link.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Fuck. All right, do your honorable mention. I'll find it.
Okay, so the honorable mention that I have to say today, and I'm ready for everyone with Trump derangement syndrome to flip out in the chat, is today is Trump's day because he overwhelmingly won Iowa today. In Iowa. Yeah.
What?
He at the time we started this stream, he had 52%. The next person, DeSantis, had 20%. Nikki Haley had 19%. Vivek had 7%, and every other competitor have less than 1%. And they were still counting. However, they said mathematically, The only reason they're counting is to see if he's going to maintain over 50% or not. But there's no way anyone else can win. So he defeated all these for weeks. I've been watching Republican debates. I've been seeing what's going on. I've been seeing what's in the kitchen, seeing what's mixing it up, and they just don't have it. Well, for starters, Nikki Haley's a joke. I'm going to say that. I don't mean to get political, but Nikki Haley is a fucking joke.
Well, wait, man, let's be honest. We all know that they're not competing for the actual presidency, right? They're all seeing who's going to be the vice president.
Right.
They're all auditioning for VP at this point. Now, the question becomes, who does Mantis think is going to make the bill?
So you know what's funny? Before Trump had words with him today via Twitter, I would have thought that it was Vivek, because Vivek has pretty much most of Trump's opinions he agrees with. However, he dissed Vivek today. He was like, he basically made a comment. He's like, "Don't vote for Vivek."
Yo, Trump is on that I got to keep these motherfuckers in their place type of shit.
Yes, he is.
I mean, let's not forget in the original primaries, man. How do you diss a man's wife and then get him to endorse you? You have to ask two people on this planet, Ted Cruz and fucking Adam 22. Only no,
but he was making everyone eat shit, and so I don't know what's up with people who were like into Christie. People are like, Chris Christie, he's a real debater, he's a real thing. He was Trump's errand boy. He used to send Chris Christie out for donuts, and then after he got into the White House, he was like, "You're dismissed. Peace." and the craziest sunning I've ever seen in my life. He just dismissed him like he was fucking nothing. People, I don't even understand how anyone takes Chris Christie seriously as a politician after that.
Come on, son. Remember, this is the guy that threw his whole team under the bridge after the bridge scandal. Chris Christie.
Yes, he killed those. He killed that dude, man. He killed that. In my opinion, he killed that dude. He didn't make it across the bridge.
I sent it to you in Discord.
Rebeck says it's in the group chat. Steve Nordic says, "I miss you guys. Glad I got to catch you guys your show finally." Nordic, you are always welcome here. We should have you on the show, to be honest. I hope you're living that dream.
Standing invitation.
Shaolin says no one else was gonna beat that man. It is. Here's what I'm saying. I understand that, but isn't it crazy that he's so unbeatable?
No, man. I don't know why everyone keeps acting brand new, man. Do you think he was able to galvanize all those people by mistake? There might be a brain in there that y'all need to come to terms with. Trump has always been great at marketing and tapping on the pulse, man. Let's not forget, at one point, black people loved Trump. Maybe not all black people, not the ones that worked for him for sure.
yeah.
But, rappers used to have him. They wanted him in the video. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I mean, there's multiple rap songs about Donald Trump being awesome, and I'm not just talking about Mac Miller. I'm talking about like rappers would say, because they liked him for his money and his exuberance.
They liked his swag.
Yeah. Cincy Star, what up, dog? We were in the middle of talking about Trump, but we're about to be talking about Miss Fat Booty.
AOC.
Everybody's favorite big booty Latina.
Yeah, that is crazy that happened on the internet, man, and that man's still walking around. Like, absolutely nuts. Like, you kind of disproves the Antifa thing, right? Antifa should have showed up to his house and burned it down, right?
Because they're all incels who don't know how to fight. Right. So this is the craziest thing. Oh my god! You know what drives me crazy? When men don't defend their women.
Right.
And so you apparently the super skinny little beta male who was walking next to her when that was happening was her man.
No, yeah, he's the big ginger fellow. Yeah.
He allowed someone to speak to his woman like that? Are you fucking kidding me?
Man, you're putting such objectification on it, man. You're putting ownership of her on that man. She's a free spirit. She's allowed to stand
Women
up
are property, and I would have laid into that. Okay? I'm keeping it 100 right now. Oh man, this is our final. Welcome to our final episode, guys. But honestly, I would have ended that, dude.
Yeah, didn't you once walk down to a corner store to challenge a man to fisticuffs for disrespecting your woman?
Yep.
He just put on his khakis, packed himself a nice lunch, rolled up his sleeves.
Old school. I kept it old school, and you know what? He backed the fuck down, and and I'm saying that's what I'm saying. Like, people don't realize the power, but like they will back down at the end usually. But I cannot AOC. I mean, I can believe that's the thing. I can believe that AOC dates a man who won't protect her honor.
Again, Mantis, I don't think you're using your emotional intelligence. Have you gone to your sensitivity trainings to understand that women have feelings, and some of their feelings include being disrespected, but not being disrespected by their man for him trying to protect them? You need to get with the times, bro.
Wait, what?
She doesn't want to be disrespected by her man for him picking up for her because she's being disrespected by another man.
And so this is actually funny. This might have something a little to do with a story we're gonna do later on because you know, a certain YouTuber had a psychologist on his show.
Oh yes, my bad. Yo, listen.
We'll talk about that.
Oh,
but she does say something very interesting. She doesn't say the left, but she basically said the left and their hyperfeminism have created a generation of males that they don't want to sleep with.
Yes, that's the plan, man. It's Little Nas X's plan. Don't you see it all coming to fruition?
Well, when your leftist girlfriend isn't sleeping with you and she's out late at night, she's with me, motherfucker. That's what you all need to know, okay? Straight up.
Yo, straight up and down, man. You know what made the Haven so famous? Remember all those bohemian guys, right? The sensitive, you know, emo guys that were just out there in their feelings. Where did their girlfriends always end up? At the
Haven boys.
Like,
I mean, we have raunchy stories, but this is not that type of episode right now, right? But like,
that's where did they end up after they got through listening to your dissertation about your feelings and how it impacted you that once your mommy didn't cut the crust off.
But let's check in with the chat. He says, "Damn, is this MSM?" We're actually not usually this. Rogue says, "Oh shit, Mantis went alpha for a sec." A reason number 83 of why feminists hate y'all. Laney says, "Oh, how I've missed this."
I'm just as worried about them as I am the Black Illuminati.
Vic says the problem is when they don't back down. Now you got to worry about if that guy knows how to fight. No, I do feel you, but like, for instance, in that particular case, what is the chances that the idiot on the steps is like, he's just like, check out my favorite big booty Latino. There's no way that guy can fight.
I don't know, man. Guys in khakis and loafers, they might be ready to get it in.
You never know nowadays because those guys might be Nazis for all you know. They're like
tiki torch carrying, khaki wearing Nazis. I understand.
Oh, she is right that like, yeah, he might not be able to fight, but he might be packing because he's a Republican, right? So.
Oh, I thought that was in reference to women raising men, making men they don't want to sleep with. She was saying the women need to stop.
Oh, heavens to Murgatroyd. I did not see that one coming. You don't lose your place, just your turn. Yo, let's take a look at this Miss Fat Booty.
Why are you doing this to me? Drake is pop to me. In the sense, like, if I was in Target in Houston and I heard a Drake song, it feels like a lot of his music is compatible with shopping.
Commercial music.
Or it's you know, music, shopping with an edge in certain instances.
Fair. I like Drake's music, but I understand exactly what you're saying.
Of course. I mean,
it's commercial, entertaining, fun, good, formulaic music.
It's likable.
Likable music, yeah.
It's likable.
But is it... You know, I'm going to leave you alone. We're going to move.
Oh, she's offended. She's like a Drake fan, and she's offended right now.
So many products.
So many SKUs.
So many SKUs. Look at all these SKUs. Oh, so many products.
So much merchandising. So many barcodes.
I love this mall. Look at this place. I mean, look at this place. They have everything. Everything's here. They have everything here. Oh, this is great. This is great. You hear it? It's great. Okay. What happens when this thing collapses?
Like, is Drake hip hop?
Yo, so when I say that's highbrow, man, like Beck sent that to me, man, and I could not stop laughing. I watched it today as my morning mantra. Was having a conversation with Cincy in regards to like, yeah, there are definitely some old school hating ass fools on the internet for sure. My point is in regards to a guy like Mos Def, you can't ask him a question like that, right? This guy's a wordsmith, man. This guy is committed to the art of hip hop. We're talking about a guy, Mantis, that used to catch freestyle battles at that dirty ass park on the side of the FDR. You know that shit? You're like, I'll never go there. He did a whole freestyle battle. This man sat in the same room as Big Pun, Cannabis, DMX, and kicked a freestyle at the table.
The thing is,
I ask about Drake.
I will say that it, I love this, and I'm laughing my ass off, and I love it. But however, that question was loaded. She asked a loaded question.
It's the shade room. What did you? I think for the shade room.
Yeah, Nordic says Drake's music is like if the CW was a genre.
Ooh,
it's marketable. So many SKUs. It's crazy. Almost Def needed right there was a cup of tea with a saucer. Pinky up.
Yeah.
Pinkies up, gentlemen.
And here's the crazy thing. Mos Def is a thespian, man. He's a man of the arts himself. He's been in a few movies, and he's been great in every movie he's ever been in, man. Even one movie, Next Day Air, where he only had literally like maybe 10 lines, and he played some shady fool that worked at UPS, and it was absolutely amazing because we have all seen these shady motherfuckers bringing our packages from UPS. He's not the guy you ask about Drake. They're not in the same bracket.
That's what I'm saying. That's why that's a loaded question. Like if you're asking an average person, that would be an interesting question. But you're going to ask like a legend who's clearly like actual like quality hip hop,
right?
If Drake is hip hop, like, come on.
The best part is demeanor and cadence. No profanity, no crazy language used. Just off the cuff, highbrow shit. Shout out to Mos Def, man.
Absolutely.
I want to get into the main show, and I want to start with the Star Wars theory thing first.
All right, do you have a video?
Yes, I do have a video. I will grab it for you.
So for those who don't know, Star Wars Theory has been canceled. Star Wars Theory is a lovable Canadian YouTuber who has cornered the game of Star Wars. He's held his channel, Star Wars Theory, for quite a long time. Apparently he has a Harry Potter channel, and I think he also has a Lord of Rings channel, but none of them are nearly as huge as a Star Wars Theory. This is a guy who he does a lot of fanfics. He'll talk any concept of Star Wars. He's like a true ultra fan. Love the guy. I think he's fine. I think he's. I forgot how much I hate that. However, people have started to cancel him left and right recently. A lot of them are false flags.
Right.
Like when they try to cancel him for using Mark Hamill's likeness in a video that was like 5 seconds long, maybe.
Yeah. Madness. Absolute madness.
But apparently he got the real canceling. And we're about to check out that video. Let's see.
This is the situation that allegedly is getting him canceled. He has another show called Theory Talks, where he talks about relationship dynamics, social issues, things of that nature, which I understand he wants to keep far away from his main channel. Just a smart move. He brought on a psychologist or a therapist. Don't know. We'll find out right now. And he asked her a very poignant question. Let's see it. Just two old guys streaming. We don't know where the buttons are. How come
I know all the buttons? Women are property. Oh, sorry. Did I say that again? Oh my goodness. I can't turn it off.
Mantis is going to be that old grandfather when his grandchild brings the girlfriend by. Like, I notice she talks a lot. Like, she has a lot of opinions.
She's got a lot of opinions. Where did she get those from?
I noticed she was out walking by herself the other day.
Hey guys, welcome to the video going viral.
I didn't know about Theory Talks, to be honest.
Twitter, on X,
Yeah.
And it's all about
Nor I
my
until I saw this.
newest episode that I had with Sadia Khan, relationship expert and psychologist, on my relationship talking channel, which is called Theory Talks. We have live streams every single night. You can check it out. So right at the end of the video, about an hour
18,000.
in, I ask her a Star Wars question, the only Star Wars question. Everything else is all about relationships and dating and whatever. And I posted this clip on my Twitter, which I'll show you guys. So if you're not following me on Twitter, go ahead and do that. I have a new Twitter now. My old one had about 160K followers. Deleted it last summer, 2 summers ago. And now I started a new one. So you can follow me there. So where is it? And there's a whole bunch of people sharing this around and not providing any context or any sort, well, not even context, but any link backs or anything. But that's typical. So I asked her a question regarding the new, well, you can watch actually. So
Okay, go ahead. I've never seen Star Wars in my life. But,
no, it relates to what we're so once Disney took over Star Wars, they started to change the whole infrastructure around and really, kind of dog the men and focus on the women a lot, in the sense where there wasn't much training and this and that. There's a new director for one of the Star Wars movies, and she says it's about time that a woman come in and shape the Star Wars movies and galaxy. And it's causing a huge uproar on the internet. So many people are saying this is ridiculous. We've had women in Star Wars galaxy before. And other people are saying, well, people's egos that are having a problem with this are very fragile and their masculinity is fragile. What's your overall consensus when a female director wants to come in and reshape something and say, it's plant that flag that, hey, I'm a woman and, hear me roar. Here is my way of making this sort of franchise, which is already established, now something that's feminine dominant or female dominant, whatever it might be, instead of just a good story.
Yeah, I think what happens particularly in Western cultures where women have it so easy, but they pretend they're not. What happens with women who genuinely...
Do you hear that? You have it easy. And she's a professional. She's a doctor or a doctoress, whatever you guys call them. But she knows that all you ladies out there, everyone listening and not listening alike, you all have it easy. Okay.
But Mantis, she's got pretty privilege, and because of her beauty, she's allowed to say these things without any fear of consequences, right?
You're damn right. You're damn right she does. You're damn right she does. That's how it should be. Because I'm not taking life advice from some ugbo. Okay? Let the pretty people talk.
have it quite easy. They enjoy victimhood because that's the only way that they can feel part of other people's struggle. What makes human beings feel alive is when they're a bit struggling, when they're going through something, where they've gone through a bit of trauma, they've gone through something, it makes them feel alive. What's happened with women in the Western world particularly is because there is no real oppression, but they want to be a victim so bad because victimhood is just a way of kind of shortcutting sympathy. Everyone just, it's just shortcut into
A shortcut to power. Do you hear that, ladies? That's what not all of you, but a lot of you do. Nordic says, well, I don't think the Western world is ready for that conversation. No, I don't think they aren't ready. That's why we're having it. That's what all of us are having. It's important that we have this conversation about how women use oppression to get a shortcut to power. Power they didn't earn.
Okay.
entitlement. You get what you want without having to earn it because you just happen to be a victim. So what happens is they want to start finding places where they can be a victim and then transform it so that they can become a hero. So what they'll do is say, oh, we need more women in this particular sport. Nobody watches them. Nobody wants women in there, but they'll just say, stamp their authority so they can be a local hero. Then we need more women.
We're looking
in
at you,
Star Wars.
WNBA.
Women don't even watch Star Wars. They don't even care about it. It's a man's little thing. Let them have it. But they want to be like, oh, there's such a deprivation. We've got to be in it so they can be a mini hero. When you don't have anything outside of your gender as a way of being proud of yourself, you use your gender as a shortcut for entitlement and heroic stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my God, this woman's a genius. Now that I've actually seen the video, this woman is a genius.
No, man. I ain't gonna let you cap up here, man. She's just a pick-me with pretty privilege, you know, who has she's just saying these things because she's desperate for a rich man to pick her, Mantis. And you're wrong for it.
I assume she already has a rich man. She looks taken care of. As a woman that pretty should be. But the whole thing is like, this is exactly like Gamergate, right? And so Gamergate is used either both positively or negatively, depending on who's speaking about it.
Right.
But so for those not in the know, over a decade, probably 15 years ago, there was something called Gamergate. It was all these crazy things, but basically there was a back and forth argument where a group of feminists had started writing articles and entering the video game space. And what they were started to say is women are oppressed. Look at the way women look in video games. Look at the way women's stories are in video games. Let's complain. Let's rock everything up. Let's mix it all up. And what they ended up doing is creating the video game problems that we talked about last week.
100%. I don't disagree with that, man, because this is one thing that just gets left out in that conversation about the representation of the physical body in video games. When's the last time until recently you saw a fat motherfucker as the star of a video game? We're talking about peak physical condition when it's a dude.
Oh,
man.
Absolutely. I mean, I just got what did I get? I got King of Fighters 15 from SNK.
Okay.
Yo.
Yeah.
No matter how hard I train, I will never have the body of Geese Howard.
Listen,
it's ridiculous.
It's not something that I feel crazy about. Grand Theft Auto, right? You had that one homely looking motherfucker, but you still got to play with a cool looking motherfucker in the game.
I would even say, here's what I'm saying. Even the guy who's like the meth head, the older guy or whatever.
Yeah.
He's still in good shape. You know what I'm saying?
Meth head. He's got meth abs. But here's the thing. I'm just saying, psychologically, I've never experienced this thing, and I guess I, don't have to be the litmus test for that. Where I see these characters and I go, man, I wish more tall, slender black men were represented in video games. That's not what I come there for, right? I come for some fantastical shit, man. Like, I'm coming to play these games, man, to have a good time, man. I'm having a good time.
And so I think that it was, and by the way, Nordic is actually contradicting. He's saying that Michael, is overweight because he used to be slender when he was a top of the line crook, but in GTA 5, it's been 20 years since he's done a crime, so he's a pot belly, and stuff. So he's saying, that's the time you see the hero is a fatty. But I would argue that's not very fat.
Wait, hold on. Run that back. Michael.
Well, yeah, Michael. In my personal opinion, Michael is not that fat. Like he's not,
okay.
For a fat dude, he's not really fat. But
I think we're overplacing the importance of that character in GTA just a tad bit, man. Let me ask you a question. You play GTA 5. Who's the game start off with?
Well, it starts with Michael.
All right. Now, does he look like a fat fuck to you?
That's what I'm saying. He's not a fat fuck. He's like a little pudgy. I wouldn't even say he's Fat Thor. Remember when people were like Fat Thor? Fat Thor was like was fat. I don't even think he's Fat Thor.
No.
Yeah.
That's how Vikings look if they had a good month.
Yes, exactly. They were well fed. What a pony. Welcome to the stream.
Yo, but to the point of this shit, man, this is where this is. And actually, I'm going to blame both sides of the table on this conversation. Let's say the left did kick it off, right? They kicked it off with Gamergate, and then we saw the intrusion into nerdom. And then there's just the sad boy situation of the right's response to it. None of this shit, in my opinion, would have blown up as big as it did if you didn't feed the trolls. And here's where I think it's intellectually stupid to engage with any feminist about video games on one core principle. Do you even play fucking games? Like, do you watch Star Wars? What is your stake in this?
Right? Exactly.
What is your stake in this?
And so let us not even pretend. And so we all know that the new Star Wars movie, the new Rey movie, we know it is going to flop harder than anything we've ever seen.
Anything?
We all know this.
Anything?
You don't know this? You don't think you know this?
We've had some bad flops from Disney, man.
Okay, fine. You're saying, but I'm saying it will certainly flop. There's no way they're going to make
it flop harder than Black Adam.
Yes, I think it will flop harder than Black Adam. Ooh, will it flop as hard as the Marvels? That's a hard one. But I'm saying even when they announced the Marvels years ago, I was like, that movie's going to be horrible.
Right.
Now, I could have told you that a million years ago, where they're like, well, it's going to be basically a slumber party for superhero females.
Well, here's the thing about the Marvel, man. It sucks for multiple reasons, and it sucks for one of the reasons is for what we're talking about right now, man. First of all, Carol Danvers' character has never been that great of a deal in the comics itself.
Right. They might have pulled it off if in the first one she was. I know you're talking about comic, but I would say they might have pulled it off in the first Captain Marvel if she was really cool and charismatic and people liked her.
Correct.
But we didn't even like her.
No, the only reason that movie did as well as it did is because we all saw it after Infinity War.
And the end of Infinity War, the end credit scene makes it look like it's required viewing.
Yeah.
Because the literally last image is her symbol on the pager.
And then when you got to the movie theater and you saw it and you realized this was just some bastard version of the Skrull invasion and Skrull and Kree conflict, I already knew what I was in for, man. I didn't even take my kid to see that one. My wife and I went to go see it. And we both walked out the theater like, that was a waste of a date night. Like, literally, that was a waste of a fucking date night. What this young lady's talking about, the woman with the pretty privilege, and she's going to unpack further, is that there is no need to introduce this narrative into this story, right? In fact, Star Wars is already telling a story about oppression, right? Aren't we dealing with an intergalactic evil empire?
Right? They're human supremacists. They're human supremacists. They don't like aliens. They don't, there's all these things. They're evil in all the ways, right? They have all the bad characteristics.
So what makes it poignant for this story? We don't know what she's going to do yet, but I have a sneaking suspicion that the story is going to be specifically about the female struggle in a galaxy far away.
And what's even crazier is that already they've shown the side of women in this story because they have countless female characters. As a matter of fact, some have led movies, right? So Rogue One, a movie people would say, maybe not universally, but a lot of people would say it's one of the best Star Wars movies.
I would agree with that.
Is led by a female. The group's leader is a female. She's the main character, right? We've got the last trilogy, and we don't love the last trilogy, but
I'm sorry, read Vic's
we've got a chat alert. Nordic Vic says, I think you don't see overweight people in games is because if they can't handle stairs, why would you want that character who is out of breath trying to save the world after the first two steps? I absolutely agree with that.
Honestly, man, that is a hard shot, but a true shot, man.
Saying. It absolutely is a true shot. And for me, a man who is heavy, I'm fat. I'm just gonna say I'm fat. I don't want Batman to be fat. It does not make me feel comfortable.
Well, okay,
or believable that Batman's gonna save the day if he's fat.
So here's the crazy thing, man. I think the reason we all ingested, pause. The reason we all took, pause. The reason why we accepted, pause. Why we didn't
injected into our asses.
Why we didn't have issue with the Dark Knight representation. I'm talking about Dark Knight, the comic, the graphic novel, because it's an old grizzly, old man buff. Bruce Wayne.
Yes,
right?
He had a dad bod, but he certainly was fit. He'd kick any of our asses.
Man, if we're to believe in things like muscle memory, Bruce Wayne has gone through the most intensive physical training that any comic book character besides Daredevil and Captain America have gone through. Why wouldn't I believe that even in his old age, he would retain some of those reflexes? In fact, Your Honor, allow me to present some evidence. Have you seen any of the videos of the old motherfuckers in boxing clubs knocking out young upstarts? Right? That man's body, and the most famous one, is depleted beyond recognition, right? He can barely get his head off the line. But he hit that kid with a hook with reflexes. I was like, yeah, that's what happens when you do something 30 times an hour for 20 years of your life, bro.
I absolutely feel you. But I'm saying even in the stories, when they make characters fat, they're not that fat. Yeah. Right? And I think.
Well, you have a problem with fat people.
I do.
I remember when we were on the train once as kids and a bigger person sat next to you. You put your hand over your face, your mouth, and your nose, and you wouldn't breathe the same air as them. And I'm like, Roy, stop it. I'm like, knock it off.
I was just so utterly disgusted.
You're like, it's contagious. It's contagious.
And you know how I feel about people and their looks. We're gonna get to this when we talked about Echo, but people's looks in video games, comics, movies, televisions. I'm saying because it's a fantasy.
Yeah.
I want to see hot people. Like if I'm gonna watch a drama about a hospital, those doctors and nurses better be hot as fuck.
And then there's some shit that's just left to absurdity, right? So growing up in the era that I grew up in with video games, where you see a lot of stuff coming over from Japan, right? Yeah, those developers were just as crazy as Rob Liefeld and the rest of those fools over at Image, man. Like, yeah, there were characters that have overly developed breasts. I never took that shit serious. And I most certainly didn't go in the bathroom because I couldn't handle the fact that this woman had like big boobs, big fake boobs, mind you. Like it doesn't hit that way, man. Fucking, I just don't know who these people are, and they're really a part of the community.
Yeah, well, they're not part of they're infiltrators. And I would say an example of someone who's really part of the community, we showed her last week, Vera Dark. Vera Dark, she started her videos were about Magic the Gathering like 10 years ago or something. She's really in the video game and gaming space. She's really about it. And she too won't even agree with these people who want to change the industry. She's like, why are you messing with my anime characters? Right?
Shalin says, is Echo really that ugly though, Mantis? Yeah, Mantis does not like a wide jaw woman.
Yeah, no, she really is, man. I mean, here's what I'm saying. Are you saying like, is she the ugliest woman alive? No. Is she Quasimodo? No. Is she too ugly to be on television? Well, she could be an extra. You know, but like a lead, I mean, that's insane. What producer signed off on this?
I actually think
a blind producer.
I think she looks a lot better with her hair down.
And Rogue Radio says there is a difference between fat and fluffy, and I would agree with that as well.
Well, wait, your opinion on this has changed, and I'm not putting you on trial here, but you're not really into the really sports combative women anymore, right? I remember I sent you a clip of a young lady that was getting ready for her first kickboxing match, and you were just like, yeah, I don't know, man, I don't know if I find this attractive. And I'm like, oh, okay, I dig that, man. I to each his own, right? To each his own. Mantis is not checking for the women at the Kung Fu school, just so y'all know.
Yeah. No, you know what it is? Obviously, for a man, and this is the thing. I think this is common. I think I might have mainstream thought on this.
Okay.
It depends on how many muscles a woman has, and so obviously, obviously people prefer tone and fit.
Right.
But there's a certain level when it gets so muscularly, she's basically an Amazon. And I'm not talking about a DC Amazon. I'm talking about those real Amazons that'll rip you in half in bed. That you're like, okay. I don't know.
It's crazy. Did you hear Rogan talking about the women, female bodybuilders, and like his co-host for his guest for that day, portly fellow, was like, man, I'd get with them, one of them really quick, because he's talking about the effect the steroids have on their sex drive and their libido. And I'm like, oh yeah, I guess they would be a bit ravenous, wouldn't they, if they're doing the cycles? She just busts in the room like, let's go.
So it would be like She-Hulk, where she carries you into bed and you would be the woman.
Man, that is the worst look ever, man. That is the one thing that audibly made me cringe watching that show. And
when she picks the dude up and brings him into
he's
bed.
just like dangling in her arms, and I'm like, oh, bro, what the hell is happening right now?
Yeah.
Let's get back to this. This.
Nordic says, think about the people who laugh at overweight cops and the stereotype of buying donuts. If they have the thought go through their head, you can't gate anything along the same lines.
I agree with that statement, and let me add on to it, man.
Could you imagine a fat Link from Legend of Zelda?
For all you portly cops, thank you for the service you do in the community, but it's not my fault you're not respected in the community. Maybe hit the vegan diet for 60 days, right? Isn't there a health requirement for the police department?
So there is. I haven't seen a fat cop in a long time, but I just feel like New York City, I think they did finally have a health requirement years ago, and I haven't seen a fat cop in a while.
I saw one the other day, but he was behind the desk.
Right. They keep them, they're the guys who book people and stuff like that. They're administrators and stuff.
Trying to fix our image. We can't have you out here.
And once again, I'm not trying to hate on people who have a better weight. But for instance, if you were to say, Mantis, go patrol the streets and chase after 16-year-old kids who are committing crimes, I would say, are you fucking insane? I cannot keep up with them. Let me do the paperwork. Let a younger, faster, slimmer man chase these kids.
Yeah. Someone that's willing to get shot by someone in skinny jeans, basically a leotard with a mask on. That's how I'm going to die. I'm convinced that I'm not going to know that these motherfuckers are thugs. Like, how can I think this? I see the kid walking around today, man, his pants was so tight and they was still sagging. I'm like, how is it physically possible for him to be walking? And he had a shiesty mask on. I was like, someone like that's going to kill me one day, because I'm going to think he's like a special needs person when he's trying to rob me. And I'm just like, are you okay? Who's your handler? Who's your handler?
Nordic says, how about the Russian little girl? I think that's who she is. That's punching a tree and tearing the bark off.
Oh, she's so
I think I know
badass,
who
man.
he's talking about.
Bro, she threw at least, Vic, correct me if I'm wrong, in that one combo, I almost counted like 40 punches before she took a step back and got back into it. That's how fast her jabs and her crosses are, man. And she threw complete combos.
And so, for instance, all these people we're talking about right now, good for them. I'm so glad these women are bodybuilders. I'm so glad this little Russian girl is as thick as nails and as tough as a freaking, nuclear bomb. But I don't have to get with her.
No,
what
yeah,
I'm saying.
she's a little girl.
and I'm not gonna. I'm probably not gonna cast her in my movie unless the movie's about a monster little girl.
Wait, I do want to say something on behalf of the muscle mommies. There are some muscle mommies out there, like I'm not shitting on them, but the ones with the gaping forehead. I ain't trying to fight her.
Like if this was Star Trek, I would not be getting with a Klingon woman.
Yes, you would. Stop it. You stop these lies. You're not going after Worf's estranged baby's mother. I know you.
I mean, she's hot, but I wouldn't because oh god, no way. But do you remember how they initiate mating? The woman picks, for starters. That's disgusting. And then she strikes you in your face hard enough to make you bleed, and if you're able to take it, then she has chosen correctly.
See, but you stepped in it now, man. The Klingons were on some red pill shit. The woman picked because the man was the what? The man was the prize, and the Klingons were on that.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna give that to you right there. That is.
Klingons were on that red pill shit. Now I'm not a red pillar, man, but goddamn, I love just sliding through those streets, man. Those red pill streets. Yeah, I was in a stream the other day that was about the subject. They were talking about Star Wars theory and this thing here, man. And the red pill clasped on to things just like wacky conservatives do. They're like, see, now this brother understands. He gets it. I'm like, no, he doesn't, you psychopath. He's not actually being canceled. They can't. He's too beloved, man.
Oh,
Your
yeah.
fan base has to turn on you. Even if he got deplatformed, he'd be, I don't know if he would go to Rumble, but most certainly he would go on another like Twitch or something like that, as long as they didn't pull that bullshit.
And you see, and that's actually an argument. And this is what I'll tell any of you. A lot of you who come and frequent here, we know each other because we are all content creators and we've done things, we've streamed, we've done all these things. And I got to tell you, I don't think that there are many people who are woke and have woke politics in our crowd, in our circle. But I will say this: I just want to warn you against it, and I'll tell you why. If you gather a woke crowd, they are trained to turn on each other.
Yes.
And that's part of jockeying for position in the social network. And so if you're used to being around, if the only people you're associating with on social media or Twitter or something like that are the wokest of the woke people, eventually they will turn you into dinner to produce clout for them. However, if you're like, for instance, this dude right here, there's nothing woke about him. There's nothing woke about any of his things. So he may, obviously, has got a ton of fans. He may have some woke people, but he doesn't exclusively deal with them. And so they're not, woke people outside of his circle may hate him, but his real fans are going to stick with him.
I agree with that. And 100%. Here's another thing that you might want to take into consideration in regards to Star Wars theory. He didn't start this fight. He got drug into it a long time ago in regards to critiquing a story. And just like another person who's being, quote unquote, not canceled, but being harassed online, at what point are we not allowed to critique art? Like art, man. Like he's talking about Star Wars, which is niche to a lot of people. And he's not allowed to have an opinion on what's clearly a bad product. And
so to answer your question, when was it we're not allowed to critique art? When wokeness was interjected into it, because
that wasn't a real question. That wasn't. It's a rhetorical fucking question.
Right. And I'm giving a vicious answer to my belief is that because when I'm saying they believe you can't critique art, I can't. I'm not allowed apparently to woke crowds to say that the Marvels was a bad movie, even though it clearly is, because I'm a male.
So, and I know you don't give two shits about this, man, about what they actually think. Let's break that down for a second. You don't get to say what a person has a thought about and what they express. We all know that socially there could be consequences for the things we say, and that separates you from the people who believe what they're saying versus the people who are saying things for clicks. Now, when I had El Guapo on my show, I brought up a very weird thing that I encountered on the internet, which was some idiot with a dashiki on, right?
Okay.
told me after looking me up on Facebook, right? And this is before like real social content shit. He's like, you really can't have a conversation about this because you're not married to a black woman. And I was like, all right. I was like, hit me in Messenger, right? Because I want you to have as many characters as you need to break that dumb shit down for me. And the guy proceeded to basically say, because we weren't even talking about black relationship dynamics, he was saying you can't have a conversation about this at all because you married outside the race. And I was like, now you made the claim. Now I want you to prove it. And by the time, like most idiots who say shit on Facebook or other places, by the time I got through dissecting his point, I was like, it's not that you don't think that I have a right to say anything about it. You don't agree with what I'm saying because a part of you knows what I'm saying is right. That's your issue. You're not arguing with me and who the fuck I married. You're arguing with your stupid ass position on this topic. It's fucking idiotic, man, to believe that a person
is totally it's insane actually. And so suddenly to destroy your side or your argument, they create all these rules. And so I'll give you an example. And actually, that's so funny that Nordic is here because the thing that my mind is shooting to is back on Spoon when MSN was on Spoon. We were having a conversation, and I believe we were touching on, not totally, it wasn't all about it, but we were mentioning things about trans. And somebody that we love and we respect, and someone who goes to our show all the time, said, well, I don't even know why you're having this conversation. You can't have a conversation because they're about trans people because there isn't a trans person on your stream.
Dumbest shit, dumbest position to take about anything. So does that work both ways across that conversation? Because I'm sure if I Google it right now, I could find 5 trans podcasts that disparage quote unquote cisgendered people without any cisgendered people being present.
Right, and it's their right to say that. Obviously, it's the right to say that. And so I'll say one. I'll bring it even closer to politics. And I can't stand it. This is related to it. When people say you can't have an opinion on something because you're not part of it. For instance, women who are very pro-choice say you can't have an opinion on abortion because you're a man.
Well, stop me.
That's so funny because that's the aggressive attitude I usually have. I'm like, why don't you come over here and stop me? Why don't you try that and see how that works out? But like the thing that is totally ridiculous about it is, one, you can have an opinion on anything you fucking want.
Yeah.
2, this is America. You can say it. You can say it with your chest about any freaking opinion. And 3, if you actually really want to break it down, if I'm even playing on their stupid level, that every rule that affects society affects everybody.
Yeah.
And so you have a right to decide where your tax dollars go. You have a right to decide what is legal and unlawful in your state and province.
Right.
Right. And so obviously anyone can have, and it's ridiculous. Are we going to say we can't pass a law about veterans unless you've been a veteran? You can't pass a law about homeless people unless you've been homeless before. That would make nobody valid voters or having, you know what I'm saying? It's just utterly, it's an insane cycle.
It's a circular, you just nailed it. It's a circular argument that really, what you were saying before, and I want you to finish that thought, setting up the rules, right? When it comes to debate, yes, there are agreed upon rules, but you'll find when one side can't defend their position, they then create rules to eliminate your speaking points. Or my most favorite thing that some people do, and this is shout out to some of the content creators, man, who do represent the left that are very articulate in their their thoughts and their wording and stuff. Here's the problem, right? If we're going to sit at this table and have this conversation, we have to be able to have the conversation, right? I have to be able to unpack my position, and I'm going to allow you to unpack yours. And then we'll go back and forth, and wherever we land on is where we agree and where we disagree. People don't want to have conversations without consequences anymore. Now, you say some salacious shit on the internet, you start dropping F-bombs, disparaging people from the LGBT community, you got to take what comes with that. Now, I'm talking about really disparaging, right? Like, actually saying some wild shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, or actually maybe even planning some wild shit, right? Like, if a person, what I qualify as real hate speech is the actual derogatory terms and then speech that leads to, get this, your mind's going to be blown right now, actual physical world violence. Right? And this is why I don't like when the civil rights era gets drug into this. because then I have to say some wild shit like, okay, show me the footage of you getting hosed, because I can't even produce that of me, right? I can't produce footage of me getting attacked by fucking German shepherds and shit like that. But you show me the footage from your community of hosing,
Right.
lynching, dogs. I want to see it. I want to see it. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
You're not gonna, and that's where I was going with that is just like Jay from Jay and Silent Bob said. Well, not him. It was the other guy actually from Clerks 2. I'm taking the phrase back. We need to take woke back, because what it's turned into is completely not where it started off, man. And shout out to Beck. She always says this, man. There's shit that black people need to gatekeep, and that was one of the things we should have gatekept. Like, we should have put the kibosh on this shit now forever, man.
Yo, they're having a conversation about beef patty in there, and I totally missed it while I was ranting and raving.
No, we're talking about the beefy women, man.
Well, you normally I like a Jamaican beef patty, but that beef patty can be left at home. Okay. Nordic says, Steve, that guy reminds me of the girl who blue screened on whatever podcast when she was asked what she considers
That's masochistic.
Yeah. Oh my god. Vic, that clip is hilarious. That clip is hilarious. Sheldon, dude, I laughed so hard. She literally confused the entire group by her actions.
Oh my god. Hit the pretty woman on the screen. Don't hit her, I mean, but hit play. Don't go back.
Oh, I'll hit that all right.
I would just say, unfortunately, it is the norm in Western cultures to kind of over-identify with your gender and then over-identify with victimhood. It's a way of getting a shortcut to being a hero. And as a result, it's just there to design. And also what it does is keeps the power in the hands of the women. And whenever you redirect power entirely to women, just like if it was entirely to men, it creates an unhealthy society. If the power is totally in men's hands, it would be unhealthy. If it's totally in women's hands, it's also unhealthy. But what we're doing is, I remember like in an environment, I did a talk and it was a mainly Gen Z, very young generation. I couldn't believe how feminine the men were. Everybody looked androgynous. I couldn't believe, and I just you would just take the normal 18-year-old boy, would have been considered as a really feminine man years and years ago. They would have seen him as like super feminine, or they would have just assumed he's a homosexual. In this day and age, that's just how the men are come. So they've lost the masculinity. Yeah, and so what's happening is the culture is creating the very men women will not desire in the future. By doing this, you're going to create a bunch of men that you will no longer be sexually attracted to. And as a result, you'll be more miserable in the long run.
Well, so there's her remarks on, and by the way, when she says women aren't watching Star Wars, she's never seen Star Wars herself. And typically,
neither has the future director of Star Wars.
His biography, not documentary.
It's a fact.
In his book, he actually stated himself that when he was looking to purchase Star Wars from George Lucas, it was primarily, I think it was 96% or 94% male dominant. So what Disney has done...
that's actually so funny because that is absolutely true. They were blatantly obvious about that. When they bought both Marvel and Lucasfilm, they had said that most of their fans were little girls who like princesses, and they were trying to expand their fan base. And they were trying to find a way to get boys in there too. Right. And so now that they have these boy brands, they're trying to convert them into like women brands. I don't understand the thought process.
Well, here's the thing I don't understand. There has to be a market for this, right? So I assume that Disney, the company that it is, billion-dollar company, maybe millions now, billion-dollar company.
It's 50 cents, man. You can buy
they have to have someone that analyzes trends, right? And someone fucked up bad at their job because someone put paperwork on the table that says, hey, looks like it's trending this way. More and more women are watching Star Wars. We have to make a message that's inclusive to them, but let's forget the story, right? Look at Rogue Company, man. You know why she was a strong female character? Because of her story.
Yes.
Because of her fucking story, not some agenda you were trying to push, which is ironically what it still conveyed, man. She's a strong female character because she's a strong character. And the character was put first, bro. That's what's fucking important. You're supposed to make the shit good.
Make it good, damn it. You're absolutely right. You're 1,000% right. And so I mean, I don't even have words, man. I was gonna say something, but
Let's move on to the
it's
next
lost
one.
in the madness.
So they're giving your boy heavy spoilers that work, or they were on the internet.
Oh
In
yes,
regards
heavy
to-
spoilers. Poor heavy spoilers.
In regards to his review of Echo. Take it away.
Right. And so we're going to talk Echo. We're going to talk heavy spoilers right now. And in the chat, who here has seen Echo? What were your thoughts? Answer now. But so Steve, have you seen Echo?
So after watching the first episode, I had quickly concluded there was no reason for me to continue.
Right. And so
I liked the first episode, but I saw where it was going and I was like, no need for me to watch the rest. I see where it's going.
And so I felt that the first episode was really lame. It was mostly a lot of flashbacks. I mean, there was the Daredevil fight, but there wasn't much going on, right?
Right.
And I stayed on. And then 2 and 3, I didn't mind. I was like, okay, things are happening. I'm following, the story's happening. And then it became girl boss superhero school, right? That totally deviates from the original character, original source material. Gives her powers she shouldn't normally have. Make her powers that are exclusively for females. Write themselves in a corner where it doesn't even make any sense. Because if the mom could heal, why didn't she heal her husband?
Right.
But anyway, that's a different thing. But it gets so out of hand. At the end of the day, they have a character from the comics who would never be wearing this thing, but wearing a gaudy Native American outfit that makes her look fat. Sorry, we're back on this topic. And instead of her slim ninja costume from the comic books.
Right.
And at the end, they punk Kingpin. So once again, Kingpin is now totally unusable in my opinion.
Yeah, I get you.
Because he keeps losing, and he keeps losing to Scrubs. So, what's her face? Junior grade Hawkeye, 50 Cent Hawkeye. What's that chick's name?
Oh, yeah. Kate Bishop.
Kate Bishop suns him up.
Right.
Echo shoots out his eye.
Right.
And now Echo uses her Native American get in touch with her ancestors' powers to kick the crap out of him. How is he going to be a viable villain for Daredevil?
Bro, all right, so there's a lot there. Her costume in the comics, right? She literally has, she has some Native American representation. She has the hand over her face, right? And she has,
which they got rid of, which is crazy. It's her signature look.
And she's got the wraps and a few feathers sticking out, and basically that's it. She's basically wearing like a sports bra, leggings. But here's what
she looks like. She'd be a Street Fighter character, actually.
She looks like a Marvel street level character who right now, I don't know she has the Phoenix Force. It's crazy. I don't know what the fuck's going on. But the show had a promising opening, in my opinion, because I did like how they recapped everything from Hawkeye, and they kind of just took everything, like the good stuff, and put it together, man. And if it just would have stayed in New York, I would have had a different experience.
That's another thing. What is she doing going to Oklahoma? As a matter of fact, I looked this up because I didn't remember what tribe she was from, but apparently to make the whole Oklahoma story work, they changed what tribe she was compared to the comic.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why even bother? Because then you take her out of the street level story she should have.
Right.
To go to Oklahoma for some sort of woke shit.
Now, I have a theory about Echo. And it has to do with you being right about something, them dropping everything all at once. I think with everything they have to rescale and scaling back and scaling down, they still needed to get this shit out there, right? They still needed to, they're like, we're not pulling the Batgirl. It needs to go out. And even if they are going in another direction, they still had to get this shit out there. Because your boy from Den of Nerds was talking about, and I think he's maybe getting a little bit overzealous about this, but I appreciate his enthusiasm. The fact that the new Daredevil Reborn series, which the original premise has been scrapped, that team was fired. Kevin Feige smacked a few people. He's like, get out of my sight.
Yeah.
So originally their plan for that show was to have the Figgy. What's the character? What's the sidekick's name? Is
Foggy Nelson.
Foggy and the young lady, they were going to die off screen, allegedly, and not even be a part of the show.
That would have been ridiculous, man. That would have been absolutely ridiculous. You know how much people, I don't know if people love Foggy, but they love her. And I will say, I think people at least like Foggy enough that they expect to see him die on camera.
Right.
To simply be like, oh, but between episodes, he died. let's move on. It would be crazy.
Yeah, it would be absolutely crazy. Even though I dislike Foggy's character on the Netflix show, but it's for the right reasons. They wrote him well, and he was the annoying friend that
Right.
doesn't have powers. And I'm like, bro, get off his dick, man. He's out here saving people. Stop fucking getting in the way. But so they're bringing those characters back, right? Now, we don't know if they're going to kill him on screen. Hopefully, this is their commitment to saying, hey, this was really popular the way it was. Let's build off of that. And then if allegedly the guy that plays the Punisher, who I really enjoy this actor, tapped in and said that the Punisher character will be done right on this show. So my theory, my hope is that they had to drop Echo and get the last bit of the bullshit out, right? And then maybe we can move into some stability. What do you think?
Really do hope they drop Echo and they don't continue with it because I'm so offended. Yo, check this out. I actually hate this show more than She-Hulk.
Oof.
And I'll tell you why. At least She-Hulk, they tried to get right. They just fucked that up.
Right.
But they did. She-Hulk is a character who breaks the fourth wall, has a lot of comedy, and her comic books are more silly than most comics. So they did attempt to do this right. They purposely went off the original story, vandalized a very good character for what?
For no reason at all. For no reason at all.
Yeah.
And then here's the thing, right? The reason Heavy Spoilers is catching smoke right now is because he offered up a critique of the show. Not her race, not her tribe.
He just gave a little
not
review.
Not native, the natives of America, anything like that. And the response from an account on Twitter was, do you know how many Native American women go missing a year? Which is horrible. It is. There's no way.
I'm sorry to laugh because I'm not
Yeah.
laughing at that. That is, you're right. That is horrible. But I'm laughing that somebody would say that to someone's review.
Yeah. Like what?
Like it has anything to do with anything.
So is that supposed to make this show better? Because then don't be mad at me. They're the one disrespecting the Native American women that came up missing by releasing this bullshit.
Right. Yeah. And you know what's also crazy? Marvel has actually, I wouldn't say a boatload, but they certainly have a lot of other Native American heroes they could have introduced.
Right.
Way more Native American. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like Mirage from the New Mutants. She's mega Native American. She's like a token. She's a stereotype. But here's what it is: Maya Lopez is not she's a Native American, but it doesn't own her. She's not a stereotype.
Right.
Mirage is like Danny Moonstar, or whatever. Her last name Moonstar. I mean, come on, bro.
Yeah.
And she's super Native American. She's a stereotype.
Right.
And what I'm saying is, why did they have to turn Maya Lopez into a stereotype?
I don't know, man. And here's the thing: I don't blame any of this on the actress because I actually think she carries that kind of like quiet prowess very well. That opening scene where she meets up with the henchman for the first time and like the guy tries to caress her, I thought her facial acting was extremely good on this. We don't know how good she could be because she's in this bullshit. Right? You don't
You're
know.
right. She didn't get a fair lick. She didn't get a fair thing. I'll say, Shaolin is offering some of his writing expertise, and I tend to agree with it. He says he shouldn't. Speaking of Kingpin, he shouldn't have been the final boss. If they were smart, they would have treated Fist like a street level Thanos. Absolutely, she should have never. Other than the conversations in the first couple of episodes, she should have never been able to see him again. He should have sent minions, and she should have beaten some other comic book villain who serves him. Not Bullseye, but someone like Bullseye who serves him.
See, here's the
she should have
problem.
kicked that dude's ass.
Here's the problem. I agree with everything you're saying, except for the MCU does not understand comic arcs and minor villains, right? Kang is a minor villain. Kingpin is not a minor villain. He is an impactful villain, right?
Right.
He may not be a cosmic level threat, and he may not be a world threat, but he is a threat in his immediate space. Right now, his arc, he's the mayor of New York, and they're kind of doing a Lex Luthor thing with him. I'm enjoying it a little bit, but dare I say he is the Lex Luthor of Marvel in some instances.
You know what? And you are right that like in the normal setting of the MCU, or not the MCU, Marvel.
Right.
Remember how they jumped him at the end of Hawkeye? That would have never happened. No one would have ever gotten close to Kingpin.
No.
What's her face? Haley Steinfeld's version of Hawkeye would have never been able to jump him in that limo because he has so much security. She would have never been able to get him within a mile of him.
Yeah, and the people who have bested him in fisticuffs they have been some of the greatest fighters, or their abilities have been amazing.
But remember, they have to go to great lengths to hunt him down, or he allows the fight. Sometimes he will allow a fight to happen.
Yeah,
but for most people, he doesn't let some scrub just jump him on a corner like he's a punk.
Well, let's be even real about it. If Marvel wasn't under the comic code, you know how many times he would kill minor villains? Like if I was looking to get rid of the Kate Bishop character, I would have her go after
That's
Kingpin.
the name I'm looking. Kate Bishop. I keep forgetting that.
I would have her go after Kingpin in the comics, because that would be her death. I would have a Moon Knight go after Kingpin, because it's like, that's how you kill some of these useless minor villains. Fuck, if you really want to get extreme with it, if the Punisher were to ever really die in Marvel Comics, it should be at the hands of someone like Kingpin, right? It should be.
That, yeah.
You know, it's not this, you know. But
Laney says absolutely.
In regards to the final boss thing,
and Pokelink says oogie woogie boogie.
Booga booga booga.
Just as nonsensical.
What up, Boogie?
What up, yo?
Yeah, but it's crazy that Heavy Spoilers is catching smoke about this, man. Like, what does that have to do with his critique of the show?
And I'm gonna say this: I love Heavy Spoilers. He's a really down to earth guy. He responds to people regardless of your fan count on Twitter. Right. He's really kind. He's really nice. You know, he's a family man, which I really respect. He really loves his wife. He really loves his boys, stuff like that. And this really got to him.
Yeah.
As you saw for days, he was tweeting out. He was making comments to it. You could tell how annoyed he was, because once the first person attacked him about the indigenous women, they started piling on. They made him a crusade. They're like, let's harass this poor man who just wants to watch movies and review them.
Right. It's crazy, because he used words in there that I'm like, man, you don't see how you help the indoctrination of someone right now. So everyone's accountable for what they join. But he actually had to respond to a tweet where he's like, this is the problem with what's going on in the world. Everyone is obsessed with gender. And that's how, quote unquote, people become radicalized, right? Yeah, I'm just using the terms that they use, right? It's because you attack a guy for having an opinion on the show. And in fact, let me prove how wrong they are about him. During the What If season 2, where they did Korra's episode, he and a bunch of other reviewers were so terrified of mispronouncing or misstating something in every episode. And I believe that can genuinely come from two places. One, a person trying too hard, right? Or a person who's like, genuinely, I don't want to disrespect the culture. I'm talking about the show. That was a good episode. I know you didn't like it. Korra's character turned out to be kind of like just a plot device for the last episode as well.
Right.
But it was a beautifully done episode.
It looked beautiful.
Good versus bad. Echo is bad. I'm sorry. If the character happens to be black and it's bad, come on. How many fucking Black Lightning, for God's sake? I wasn't mad that the shit sucked. It did, bro.
It could have been good. It really could have been good, but it was CW. It was CW,
Well, she ain't never had no Black Lightning before. But you understand what I'm saying? Like, I'm not mad if someone critiques a black comic book character's movie, because I know that hopefully they're not critiquing the entire people group. Well, you can pick up on when
exactly. I mean, I'm just gonna say this, and don't attack me. Meteor Man sucked.
Meteor Man did suck, man. It had another bad creation. It was a horrible movie. And Blank Man sucked too, man.
Oh, Blank Man. Oh, damn, Blank Man.
Well, I just don't get it, man. I just don't get it.
And so what is left for us in the entertainment space? So we've got Star Wars going to hell. We've got Marvel going to hell. DC, don't even get me started on DC.
Dead
on arrival.
So I guess it's time to talk about. Did you want to get into the Iowa thing, or did we?
I mean, let's talk about it.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about politics. Trigger warning for all of you who are in delusion that so Donald Trump has overwhelmingly won.
Right.
Let's see if the new I'm just looking up the Iowa caucus results. Okay, so his number went down. He used to be at 52, now he's at 51, but still that is overwhelming. Overwhelming victory over his enemies, and his enemies are great in number. Let me tell you that. What are your thoughts?
I'm not, like we were saying at the beginning of the show, man. I'm not surprised, right? Especially not in a place like Iowa, and that's not to disparage Iowa, man. What Trump represents to some people is like, he says the things that are on my mind. What he represents to other people, and I think they might actually be the majority, is, hey, this guy might be the only person that is the thin line across a bunch of madness happening. Now, whether or not you believe that statement to be true in regards to the culture wars, economical crisis, world problems, they feel as if though this guy is the guy that's going to toe the American line. It doesn't surprise me, right? It does not surprise me, because the people who he would be debating, who he's competing against, they don't even understand their base anymore. The number has dwindled in regards to the quote unquote classical conservative. Now it's all about the clicks on IG. Are you talking shit about the vaccine? Are you saying the right things? Do you put up a quote every once in a while that says, I'm raising lions, not sheep, and that's why we don't watch MSNBC? You know what I'm saying? You got to be tapped in, man. And he's tapped into that. He's got a firm grip on it. The problem is he galvanizes his base, but I keep saying this, he galvanizes the other base extremely well. All the liberal candidate has to do is say, Trump bad, look at that, look at me.
It will. And so the real question is, if Biden doesn't step down, and that's going to be problematic for the Democratic Party, because not a lot of people, even liberals, have faith in Biden.
Right.
They think he's most people think he's a wobbly old man who can't find his way to the bathroom at night. Well, so
I would
be honest, sometimes I can't find my way to the bathroom at night.
Hey man, listen, who's not stumbled a couple times? But it doesn't surprise me, to answer your question, man. It does not surprise me. In fact, the only thing that surprises me, that people are surprised by this, right? Who is he going up against? Ron DeSantis should have just been content with being governor in Florida.
He could have. Honestly,
that's his little kingdom, right? It's his little kingdom, but they're going to go Trump 100%. Florida is going to go Trump, and all the other red states are going to go Trump, in my opinion.
And that's going to be really embarrassing for DeSantis when his own state doesn't even have his back.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's like, you were good enough to get us to the dance, but we're trying to go to the party. You know what I'm saying? We trying to take over.
Absolutely. But like, the question is, what do people looking for in this season? And so I know people are angry about the economy. I think people are very angry about the border. Even a lot of lefties are angry about the border.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you see what's going on over in New York? Like, you saw that thing, the kids are they're making kids do remote learning.
Yeah.
So that some illegals can live there.
And bro, keep this, right? So that's happening. But you know what else is happening? Millions of dollars is still being poured into the situation. Now, if you were a smart liar, you would say, hey, those millions of dollars, we're going to allocate some of that, build some type of infrastructure, not like the COVID tents in Central Park, but maybe buy some abandoned warehouse somewhere. There are plenty of them in Queens. They're all over the fucking place. And we will retrofit that and turn that into a shelter. No. I have to believe that they're doing this on purpose. Like, I have to believe that they're like, you are picking your kids over these people, and you're pitting people's emotions against each other, and it's backfiring right in their face. Because you know what really upset me the other day, besides what you just talked about? That this situation is so fucked right now, bro, that 3 migrants trying to cross over that river drowned with their kids. Look it up. This happened, man. And we're not recognizing that people are being harmed on both sides of this issue because it's been politicized. Because the left does not give a fuck about immigration. They do not. If they really cared about immigration, we would hear an actionable plan in which they were going to do something that would not hurt the American people while helping another group of people.
Right.
Like, they're shipping all of these poor immigrants into Chicago and setting up another LA scenario. I know you're not very familiar with gang culture, but this is how that shit happened.
And they're putting them in black neighborhoods, and they're saying the blacks have to deal with them now. And so they're creating another ghettoized situation where minorities are against each other. They have to play against each other for resources and space.
And who's doing it?
And it almost seems like it's on purpose.
It is on purpose. It has to be. It has to be. I'm telling you, Little Nas X is at the helm of this shit, man.
But I'll tell you, if you don't want to build a wall and you don't want to build a warehouse party wagon that Steve is talking about, follow Mantis, vote for Mantis. I'm going to build a moat, but it's going to be filled with lava between us and Mexico.
Whoa. Actually, I think it's time we turn our eyes to the next great resource pool that we're now looking at. Our neighbors to the north. They've been living too good for too long. It's time.
I have for so long wanted to invade Canada. It is unbelievable. I literally scratch my balls thinking about it. I'm like in bed like, oh, that feels good. And another thing about Canada. And then I just bust. I'm saying these people are animals. Have you heard about the whole camera thing going on over there?
No, what's going on?
So, you know how porch pirates are like stealing everything nowadays, and people are using the Ring cameras to not only film them, but they put them up on social media, and they're like, you see these guys, get them, or whatever.
Right.
In Canada, it's illegal to film someone, even on the street. It violates their privacy. And so the police are saying, if you post your own footage of people robbing you, that violates the criminals' privacy laws, and that's illegal.
Bro, it's got to be the yuck factory, man. I stopped some youngins from stealing at my place of work today, right? Now, remember, I said I stopped them from stealing.
You knocked someone out, didn't you?
No, can you tell me why one of them was like, man, you discriminated against us? I'm like, first, it's discriminating. And no, I'm not, because I had to ask you to take the item out of your bag, which you did not pay for. I did not profile you. I watched you on a camera steal because someone else, an employee that was off duty, had just seen those kids hit up a store upstairs. Like, he literally came down. He was like, yo, these kids are coming in right now, man. They just hit up the store. Keep an eye out. It's not discriminating. You did it. I will post the footage of anyone stealing shit from my house as far and wide as I can.
Absolutely. And in America, we're free to do so, but in Canada, we're not, which is why they need to be invaded. It's one of the many reasons they need to be invaded. But their laws
can't post pictures of your prime minister in blackface because that's invading his personal
his personal privacy. And so F that. I mean, they're just disgusting animals. Shaolin says also Biden lost a lot of steam with what's happening in the Middle East. Absolutely. The young people are turning on the Democratic Party in general. I don't know if they're going to vote for Trump though. They're going to vote for some hippie.
Listen, he could say a few things to win him over. He got more Black and Latino votes in the male population than I thought I thought was possible. And the last election, like it went up something crazy, like 20%. And I'm like, that's fucking nuts, bro.
Yeah.
Like, so
but
it's possible.
With an invasion plan of Canada, hear me out on this one. What's really great is Canada is a lot of ways similar to Australia, where a lot of their land is like uninhabited. And so, because what it is the upper half of Canada is all lumber, it's all forest, and they don't actually have civilization up there.
We need that. I want those resources.
Yeah, I want that lumber, absolutely. Also, that's a gateway to even better oxygen. And why should the Canadians be breathing nicely? But I'm saying we could then also deport the illegals north. And let the Canadians deal with them.
Oh, we keep sending the
while we occupy
up.
them. While we occupy them, we could. There's so many ways we can improve Canada, and so they're only good for two things: snowboarding over at BC,
right?
You know what I mean? And I'm sorry, just one thing.
No. Canada is like the sandwich I'm saving for later. If I was a dictator, I'm like, I will eat it eventually.
A sandwich I was gonna skull fuck.
You know what's crazy? As we're talking about conquering our neighbors to the north, I keep hearing that song in my head. And I will have that power by the power of the derelicts, destroy, exterminate nothing. Absolutely nothing.
I mean, we need to do it. It's time. Pokey says, I've been seeing Vivek Ramaswamy, extremely articulate, doesn't shy away from loaded questions or woke questions, and actually has logical answers and understandings. I agree. That's actually why I really like the guy.
He's extremely intelligent, man.
But the mainstream media has done a great job of making him look like a psycho. So
I don't think they've done as great a job as they think, man. When he went on the Breakfast Club, he definitely cooked while he was up there. He needs some shoring up and dealing with public addresses in different groups and different demographics for sure. But maybe he doesn't. Maybe the core message would be the same. And what they pressed him on in the Breakfast Club was one of the things he wants is that I'm going to get this wrong, but everyone should have to go through the naturalization process, even as an American. Like, you should know these basic tenets.
Yeah, I agree. And the way he phrased it, though, I really like that. Vivek said everyone should have to take the same civics test that my parents took when they immigrated here, and I was like, word.
I'm like, that's how it started in Starship Troopers, right? You weren't a citizen until you did what?
right, exactly, right. So service, you have to give service, and I'm actually kind of pro that, but. Wait, hold on. Hear me out. Wait, hold on. Hear me out. Basically, what we do is what I mean by service. It doesn't have to be a branch of the military. I think we should have something like AmeriCorps or one of those charitable organizations, and you should have to do some sort of service. Or you could join the Army Corps of Engineers, where they don't fight; they just build shit.
Civil service, yes.
A couple of years of civil service, and then boom, you're good. But everyone should have to do it in some way.
I'm digging it because in actuality, man, I think one of the most enriching periods of my life, even though I did get paid for it, I did do a lot of volunteering that I didn't get paid for, was actually servicing a community, man. When I worked for that treatment center in California, we were in a primarily mostly Mexican and Ecuadorian area, and we would have to go out and do things in the community. Like, we would have to go out, do public engagement, mostly to see if they had drug addicts in their family. But every once in a while, I got paid for that shit. But every once in a while, I would have to go do something where we set up a tent and talk to kids about the dangers of drugs and how not to get caught up in those type of things, and provide literature. And it was worth it, man. I'm telling you, it was really worth it to be a part of that movement.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of people are under the very false impression that college is the thing that's going to make you a well-rounded human after high school. I disagree. There's so many ways you can become a well-rounded, good person and give back to society. And I think we should ditch this college idea. I'm not saying outlaw college. I'm like, college should exist, obviously.
Knowledge, right?
But I'm just saying, but like, if that's your thing, but there should be other alternatives.
100%. 100%.
DT Dub says, wasn't there a stabbing as well? In terms of
there always is. DT, there always is. In fact, right now in New York, man, whenever my mother tells me she has to take the train from point A to point B, I'm like, please be safe on the train. Not that it was incredibly safe when we were coming up, but now it just seems ramped up, man. You got motherfuckers in the summertime running around on mopeds, jacking people. Some old lady got punched in the mouth, thrown down the stairs on 96th Street.
They don't arrest you for being crazy in the streets anymore.
No, they used to.
So crazy people are just doing whatever they want. I saw some disturbing. You heard about this YouTuber who got around? A YouTuber was running around the train, and he would have pots filled with poo.
Yeah.
And he would dump it on people and then run out and film it. But they caught him, thank God. But like,
it's a good way to catch Hep C, motherfucker.
I would fucking murder that dude.
Bro, well, I guess this is not the episode that's going up on Live 365. Folks, in case you don't know,
this episode is fine. Are you kidding me? We're having a great episode. What are you talking about?
It's a great episode, but I can't play music with curse words. You're going to put this up there? If you put this up there, I'm not editing the music anymore, because that's a job in itself, man. I got to find a clean.
It is hard to find clean music. Pony says he believes it's completely on purpose the way they're
100%.
They're controlling the population. Moats are underrated. Yeah, absolutely. I love them. That's vote for. She says porch pirates ?
Whoa!
You don't know what a porch pirate is? Come on, Bex.
What's a porch pirate? I don't know what that is.
You don't know what a porch pirate is? In the age where everyone's ordering things online, there are people who camp out, wait for you to get a bunch of packages. They run up and they steal them and take off.
That's brilliant.
I saw the craziest video the other day where they didn't wait for the mailman or the Amazon deliverer.
Oh, they just actually robbing the
as he was walking up with the packages, the people run up and just take him out of his arms and run off.
Did you see the video of all those people robbing the fucking Amazon van?
Right. Somebody put a block in front and then they just start going. Yeah, it's crazy out there.
It's nuts. Real quick before we sign off, man, I just do want to talk to you about Riz Radio and your premiere today and everything like that. Did you have a good time? How did it feel to get behind the mic proper?
It actually felt amazing. So it was annoying because I had trouble finding, like, figuring out like what my last segment was going to be. You know how you're always like, I've got 7. You're trying to think of- but in general, I loved recording it. I loved editing it. I loved. It feels really good, and it makes me feel more connected to my station. But I did need that vacation.
Shout out to you, man. I'm happy that you're back on the horse. I'm thinking about taking. No, I'm lying. Every time I say I'm taking a stream break, I'm like, we doing fanboy tonight. Let's go. These motherfuckers are crazy out here.
I mean, if you need a break, I understand, and the people
break from
understand.
what, motherfucker? Break. I'm not built like the rest of y'all, man. I just need to stream. Bex is gonna say some crazy shit right now. I'm having a great time on Riz Radio, having a great time on Live 365. Looking forward to the future of it and putting Fanboy up on there. Actually, basically been doing Conversations That Matters on Live 365, man. And I forget how much I love interviewing people.
It is a gift of yours, and you should never stop doing it. Bex says breaks? Question mark?
What? Breaks?
Oh, she's gonna lose it on you. Who's the producer of whom now?
No breaks.
She's like, no breaks.
Bex is like
outfit.
Bex is always like, you men and your breaks. Whenever we're complaining about streaming, she's like, bitch ass motherfucker.
I mean, but I'm saying she does one show a week. I've got like 50. I could tell you funny stories about. I got to tell you when we get off. I got a podcast story for you, man. This is funny. But anyway, we have had a great time. Thank you for stopping in to the Fanboy Modeling School, guys. More drama. We're in political season, which means all the voting, fighting, brother against brother, sister against sister. It's going to be a wild ride.
Who will win? He quoted the Bible right there, man. People are turning. You have donkeys eating lions. It's amazing.
It's going to be amazing. I'm into it. And of course, we have celebrities and entertainment to do stupid ass things so we can make fun of them each week. Keep tuning into Fanboy Modeling School, or at least till this guy decides to take a fucking break on me and leave me alone.
I'm not taking any fucking breaks, man. Remember the last time I tried to take a spoon break? And I went live at like 12:01. I'm like, no breaks. No breaks.
Y'all are great. Oh, thank you, Pony. And then also one amazing show. Thank you, Bex. We love you all. I'm sure
Bex wasn't referring to our show. She was referring to hers.
Oh, then fuck you. Anyway, Fanboy Modeling School. I'm the Fat Man. Just hit me up on Riz Radio. You can find me on Live 365. That is the radio app. It has all the stations, including the one you need. Riz Radio. We do the top 40 hit music, but also we have segments like my man over here does hip hop show every Thursday and Sunday night. Be there.
Mic check with your boy Steve. Real name, no gimmicks. Y'all have a good night.
And I'm every afternoon, 4 p.m. Eastern, doing drive time with you. So, till next time, guys, ciao for motherfucking now.